Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon is still in major moving mode. He's actually on his way back to Tennessee. His life is a big
moving
mess
van
right now. So he's been pretty busy. But hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our show, the Guitar Knobs podcast. Where what did Tony? If there,
What?
We always get new people.
What?
And they always say hi. And what do we do? Hey.
We like to talk about gear. Specifically, we like to talk about boutique gear. More specifically, we like to talk to the people who make the boutique gear. Mm-hmm. And that's things like guitars and amps and pedals and accessories and all the good stuff. And occasionally we do a 101 where we all learn a little something.
Correct.
And we also talk sometimes to movers, shakers, authors, musicians, the whole ball of wax.
Yep. Gear, demo people, and influencers, all kinds of stuff. Anyhow, we have one of those people on hand, actually in studio with us.
Yay!
Because we've got a real live Ohio builder with us right now. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Cliff Spruill with Clifton Guitarworks.
Right on. Now, are you Ohio native?
Yes. The
All right.
only time I was not in Ohio is the 5 years I spent in the Navy Construction Battalion.
I'm so glad you didn't say penitentiary.
Well, almost the same thing.
As far as you know.
I'll mind my P's and Q's then. And
Watch out, he's got a shiv!
Well, I did get paroled after 5 years. So.
yeah, quote, good behavior. Anyways, hey, everybody deserves a second chance, so we're glad you're here. We're going to have fun talking with Cliff. He makes some really unique guitars and is also expanding his production into pedals and maybe some other things. So we're going to hear all about that. In the meantime, where can people go to check out what you do?
We are all over the interweb. You could go to the website, cliftonguitarworks.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram. You can mail us. You can come by the house. You can call. You can stalk. We can be found anywhere.
Hey, be mindful if you just heard the last minute or two, that may not be what you want to do. But I'm kidding. He's not, to our knowledge. This has gone too far, everybody. He's a gentleman. So. All right, well, we're going to have some fun. We're going to find out, as I mentioned, all about what you're building, hand building, and a bunch of other musical type nonsense. Let's see here. We got a few announcements real quick. We need to thank
Road.
That's right. We need to thank Road Mics down in Australia. Hello, Nick. This is where our weekly when we get to say hi to Nick, and he says hi back. And we wave, and we're just really glad that we've got some good people down there who have supplied us with some really awesome equipment. So thank you so much for that. And everybody out there, there are so many people that listen that are making content these days. And if this is something that you are currently doing or you're interested in, they have really doubled down on making content maker friendly equipment. Everything that you need to do those things, they are handling right now, and it is really outstanding stuff. So thank you. We also got a lovely note from Gregory Randall. He said, "Hey Knobs, finally got around to listening to the latest episode." That would have not been the latest, but the previous latest. It was great as usual. I always love the outtakes at the end, and this time I was laughing really hard at the Michael McDonald imitations. We had a blast doing them because it doesn't matter. We don't do things because the quote unquote tape is rolling. We do it because we're silly idiots. I've never heard anyone imitate Julia Child imitating Michael McDonald before. I think that was aimed at me. I'm pretty sure. Truly amazing, he says. Have a great day on the journey together. Gregory Randall. Gregory is a great supporter of our show. So thank you so much for sending that out, and we're glad that we made you have a good chuckle. We give those out for free. That's one side benefit of the show. If nothing else, Tony and I and Jared laugh, and that's good enough. If no one else listens, which fortunately you're all out there listening right now, so you're hearing this. We love it. Anyhow, thank you so much, and let's get on with what's going on in our music worlds this week. We are going to check in with Tanya Belansky, and then with our friend Cliff over here. And then I'll round it up.
That would be swell of you. So I got my newest issue of Vintage Guitar Magazine, and there's a really cool article on Joe Walsh being reunited with his, I think it's a 59 Les Paul. And it had, I don't know, it somehow it got misplaced along the way during the crazy years. And it's a really good article, and it talks a lot about it. I mean, he had an option to either buy his guitar back from a dealer, and there was just these series of misadventures, I guess, and somehow he got one of these dealers ended up with it. I think it was at Willie's, and he had an option to either buy a pristine 1959 Les Paul or his old guitar back. And after he got a chance to play his old guitar, he bought that one instead, and it was the same money. And his guitar at this point is certainly not pristine. It was, I guess, what's technically called a tangerine burst. So It's pretty bright orange, sunburst on the outside.
Yeah.
And it had been ridden hard and put away wet, and he had it back when he was...
That's a horse reference, by the way, everybody.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because the whole thing is you ride a horse hard and it's sweating under the saddle blanket. You take off the saddle and the pad, and they're usually coated in sweat. And if you put them away wet, their hair mats, and it's disgusting.
Well, thank you for explaining that. Wow, I would have never known that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I thought it was really interesting that he ended up choosing this guitar, even though it was not in great condition. I mean, there was some water damage on the headstock and the body. The pickups and everything were all rusted. But there was some connection that he had with that particular guitar, the neck and everything. And he chose that for the same money that he could have got a pristine one for from Rudy's in New York. So I did a little bit of a deep dive. I started digging out pictures of the James Gang and early Eagles, and just to kind of check out that guitar in particular. So
very cool, cool. Well, do you think he did the right thing?
I think he did. I mean, it's kind of funny. I think one of the quotes was, "We can't believe that Joe Walsh is paying a premium for a Joe Walsh guitar."
Yeah, that you'd think that the dealer would cut just so he could have the look what I did. But he's also probably young, and you can afford it.
Yeah, at this point, yes, you can afford it.
Yeah. So that begs a question. We've kind of talked about this before, but since then we've also bought and sold a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If you could buy a piece of gear that you sold off, what would it be?
It would be my 1966 Jaguar.
Ooh, yeah. Why did you do that?
Well, I was...
That was stupid.
I was. I mean, I was selling off stuff. I mean, there was a guy that I worked with that wanted a guitar, and I said, "Well, I've got this one." I wasn't playing anymore at that time, and that was really the first real guitar that I bought. I got it from a pawn shop in Youngstown, and it was a true 1966 block inlays, bound neck, and had the original case. The only thing wrong with it was it had a bad bridge pickup, and at that time, you didn't go out and order a Jaguar pickup. You routed the body and put a humbucker in it. So I had Kurt Cobain beat by quite a few years.
Yes.
So yeah, I think if I had an opportunity, I would. Now get this, I bought it for $175 back in 81,
Yeah, 'cause
82.
nobody was playing those things.
No, everybody hated them.
Yeah.
But this thing it was a beautiful guitar. I mean, it was in perfect shape. The case was in good shape. And
Yeah.
then I got my filthy hands on it.
Yes,
But,
you do
um,
have rather filthy hands. Yeah.
But I used that for, pretty much all the time that I was playing in the 80s. And then, stopped playing. I don't need it anymore. This guy wants to buy it. And I think I sold it for $275, and I thought I was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I made $100 on the deal.
Fantastic. Cliff, how about yourself? Any piece of gear that comes to mind?
No, because I'm kind of a hoarder, so I kind of still have everything.
That's impressive, because considering that most people, especially starting out, young, in order to get something better, you have to get rid of something. You have to, make some money to go into debt.
Yeah, well, I didn't really start playing guitar till I was almost 25.
Yeah.
So I didn't go through the
pain years.
the other stuff. I
That's
mean,
fair.
I had a job and used the money to get the guitar I wanted and still have it.
Well, you're a lucky
there you
person.
go.
You haven't fallen into the trap that almost everybody does at some point.
Todd, how about you?
I've come close a couple of times, but
Yeah.
What piece of gear would you buy back,
do you
including
know
your
which one it is?
Chandler tube driver rack mount?
No. Although that's probably worth something at this point.
It's worth a little bit more than
Yeah.
probably then.
No, it would be the. Was it an 84? The 84, the Explorer, the white on white Explorer.
Oh,
Yeah,
you regret selling it?
I do. I do regret that, just because it was the patina on it. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, those white guitars
was
get
amazing.
that perfect shade of yellow
Oh, it was incredible.
over the years.
I do. That's one that, but I had to, because I needed to get something else.
Yeah,
So yeah, what are you gonna do?
crying over spilt milk.
I know, but it was beautiful.
Do you want to explain that?
Spilt milk.
Crying over spilt milk.
No, I'll let you handle that one. I don't want to overshadow your knowledge with my vast knowledge. We need to spread it out.
So the saying is, "Don't cry over spilt milk."
Yes.
If you spill your milk, it's not the end of the world.
Yes.
And so there's no sense in crying over it.
That was very elaborate. I suspect that came from when young Timmy had to go down to the corner store to get the milk from Mr. Johnson and walk it all the way back
In the glass bottles.
in the glass bottles.
Ah, did he have the carrier or not?
Yo, for sure had the carrier,
The
but
metal
that's why it
carrier?
was so heavy and it rocked back and forth.
And he
little
spilt milk?
Young Tommy spilled milk, and then he'd cry because he was going to get in trouble.
And when he got home, what did mom say?
She didn't say anything; just smacked him in the noggin with a wooden spoon.
And then she told him, "Don't cry over spilt milk."
Yes. Anyhow, yeah.
On this week's colloquialism podcast.
Hey, I'm a massive fan of etymology, not entomology. That's the bugs.
Bugs.
But I love etymology. I'm absolutely knocked out by like where phrases come from and word origin and stuff. I love that stuff.
I love edamame.
Yes, I do too. That's the end of this. We had nowhere to go with that. Cliff, how about you? What's going on in your music world?
As far as building and what's going on,
Well, we'll
or
save
just-
that. We'll
Save
save
that
that.
for
You're just
Yeah.
wanting
How
like
about you? You're
yeah,
Just a
playing-
nugget.
general music
A
stuff.
nugget of
What's the
something that
thing?
happened this week in your music world.
Tony over-elaboricizes everything. That's a new word. Somebody can use that.
You might wanna,
Elaboricize.com.
you might want to coin that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, doing practicing with the band, getting a new CD done, getting everything mixed and mastered, ready to put
Nice.
together and print. We got a show this Saturday. It's actually pretty cool. It's a big. It's called Mercy Fest, and it's really a festival for all the first responders.
Oh, wow.
Fire and
Very cool.
police and things like that. So we're going to go out there and rock it up for a little bit in Clarksville, Indiana.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So what kind of music are you playing?
It's kind of bluesy, classic rock kind of stuff with a little country flavor in it. Kind of, I don't know, a la Blackfoot kind of stuff.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, enjoy that fest out there.
And that's cool that you're doing that too, because I mean, those folks, they work hard every day of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
And the past 2 years, they worked extra hard.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's great
Indeed.
that you're able to do that. Hey, Todd, what about you?
Well, so glad you asked, Tony. I was wondering, what was I going to talk about this week? And lo and behold, I got delivered today an Origin 50 head, a Marshall Origin 50 head.
Oh, wow. Don't you already have an Origin 50?
I have an Origin 50 combo.
Yeah.
And so I'll be elaborating on, well, then why would I get an Origin 50 head?
Yes, elaborate, please.
Well, as I'm gigging, I got the combo and then realized, boy, I could really use a little bit more firepower because we're getting some bigger stages. I just need a little bit more bit more speaker.
Give me some SPLs.
Yeah, the combo sounds fantastic, and the range that it has, because it's basically like a 10, 20, 50 style, power. That's how it's broken out,
Right.
low, mid, high. It allows a lot of versatility for whatever kind of room you're playing. But the one speaker is limiting. So I ended up getting a 212 cabinet, the Marshall 212 cabinet that goes with the Origin line. And then I realized, I was hauling the cabinet and the combo. And I like to be prepared, and I'm always the person who anybody is saying, "Hey, do you have a thing?" It's like, yes, I have a thing, because I come prepared. And everybody else doesn't. So, and I said, I love this amp, I love this way this is going, but if something happens, if I get banged up, it's like we're getting a lot of gigs, my sound's going to, if I have to get an amp or whatever, it's going to be a hassle. But then I also thought about, it's kind of a hassle to have to take that to practice, take it back. I'm constantly hauling this combo amp all over the place. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get the head for that speaker cabinet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave the combo for practice or at my house so I can practice at home.
Right. And get that same luscious tone. that you're
Exactly.
used to.
So it should be exactly the same. Now there's certain, pros and cons with each, but I'm going to do some video action about basically the whole, I got the range now. And the
Well, that'd be
upsides
interesting
and
to see
downsides.
the difference between the combo 112 and the head 212.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to sound a little bit different.
Well, it will. It has to, because currently there's different speakers in the 212. The stock speakers are in there right now.
Right.
And one thing that I'm considering doing is, those stock speakers are meant to sound awesome with kind of cranking the actual amp and getting the Marshall sound out of that. Mm-hmm. True to form, I don't necessarily just want that. So I'm finding that the speakers are kind of giving way a little too easy. And I think I'm going to put something in there, because right now I put a Warehouse Guitar Speakers Invader 50 in the combo. And it sounds really great. So the only thing is, if I put the 50s, I feel like I need something a little bit more in the 212. But I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to try out a couple things and see what works in there. But I feel like I need it to hold its own a little bit, because...
So you want to get away from the Marshall sound.
No, it's not that I want to get away from the Marshall sound. I don't want to be limited to a speaker that is going to deliver the Marshall sound at a lower power ratio, if you will, right? So like right out of the box, it's going to sound like an overdriven Marshall.
Right.
Well, I'm hitting it with, some pedals. So I'm hitting the drive with the drive, and I don't want it to sound just overblown.
Flubby.
And I can hear flub now, and I'm like, ah.
Well, you should call Warehouse Guitar
I
Speakers
am going to call them.
and see what they might recommend 2 different speakers.
They probably will.
I mean, that's
Which
what
I
I
will
would
listen.
do. And I do that. I mean, on
And mic them both.
On my Z-Best, well, you don't have to mic them both. You could just have a...
Well, maybe I will.
Well, okay.
Because I like to do
Knock
things
yourself out.
that are excessively complicated.
Yeah, complicate things as much as possible. But, like in my Z-Best cabinet, I have a Celestion Gold, and then I have a UK Celestion Greenback.
Yeah.
And those two speakers work really well together because the Gold is really good. It's a very efficient speaker, and
explain efficient speaker to those that might not understand what that is.
So the Alnico Gold has it reacts faster. It tends to break up a little bit sooner because it has a smaller voice coil, and it does have a lower power rating too because of the size of the voice coil. So that any Alnico speaker tends to break up faster, but it's a sound that I like. I mean, and especially because I tend to gravitate towards the Voxy, and I love the sound of an overdriven Vox.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the Greenback tends to be a little more MIDI, and this one, the other thing about the Greenback that I have, it is a bass voiced 12-inch speaker. So it has a little bit lower range. It goes down a little bit deeper, and it doesn't react as fast. I mean, I can really hear it. I mean, most of what I hear coming out of that 212 cabinet is coming off the Gold.
Yeah.
But I can feel the bottom end coming from the Greenback.
Right.
So
right.
I don't necessarily hear it, but I do feel it. So I think that's a really good combination. So I'm sure they've got some things like that. But if you go with an Alnico speaker, you're probably that might put you back into that bright, crunchy sound that you're trying to.
Well, and it's not the kind of music I'm playing. I need something that has, it's like I need a knife and a pair of brass knuckles.
Yeah. That's why I think if you do two different speakers, you'll be happier.
Right. Anyhow, so more to come on that, but that's my latest now. Now, as soon as I got that, I was like, ooh, this thing's pristine. And the cool thing is I got it at a stupid price on ProAudioStar.com.
I've checked that out before. They've got some great deals.
I kept looking. I'm like trying to find these heads somewhere, and like in the used realm, they're all in the like 650 kind of thing, 600 650 kind of area. Brand new ones, I believe, are 750. So I was like, $100 off on a used one. Might as well just get the new one, I guess. But this one I actually picked up for like $520.
Oh.
And it's free shipping. I was like, oh, hello, mama.
We love free shipping.
Yeah. But it was an oddball. It's like they're not doing mass volumes of this. They got one that was like open box. Mm-hmm. Well, now it's not new anymore. So it's just sort of like an orphan sitting on their thing. So they're like, hey, we got to move this thing.
Oh, yeah. I
raised my hand.
I do that all the time. I mean, that's if I'm looking for something particular, I'll go to Musician's Friend or Guitar Center.
Yeah.
It's either they have used or open box.
Yeah.
You can sometimes score a really good deal.
Yeah. But, I mean, the hang tag was still on it.
Yeah.
The power cord bag wasn't even, like, the bag with all the pedals and everything, those bags are still sealed and everything. So a demo unit or something? I'm not really sure, but it's pretty pristine. So that made me think, oh, now I should probably look for a used head case. No pun, no jokes. I'm already a head case, but just to protect it. So
you mean like a hard case?
Yeah,
or
like a cabbage kind of thing or something like that.
Yeah, unnecessary.
Yeah,
I may have one.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's just in my workshop that I use to kind of put my foot up on when I'm tuning the guitar. It's kind of in the way handy right now.
So that's almost as bad as my shop, where I have an old, I think it's either late 60s, early 70s. It's a Woodson 2x12 cabinet that is my coffee maker stand. I love it. The things we find uses for.
Yeah.
You got to use what you got.
Yeah, I hear it. Well, anyways, we're going to get on to some really special four on the floorness in a second. But first, I think Tony's got something to share.
I think I've got something to share. Todd, I'm looking at a pedal right now.
That's great.
This pedal is sitting in front of me.
Oh, the one, yes, it's on the table.
This one right here.
Uh-huh.
It's got 4 jacks on it.
Holy mackerel.
It's got an in and out, an ascend and a return for the effects loop.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering, should I just use guitar cables to just connect stuff up like that?
No, that's absolutely silliness.
I mean,
You don't need to. You know why?
why?
Well, now, the first thing somebody say, well, yeah, but then you got to have a bunch of pedals crowded around there on these short little cables. Not true.
No?
You can get really long cables there.
Yeah.
Made in the exact same format. And I believe they go up to 20 inches.
That's a long cable.
That is a long patch cable, but it's a whole lot better than using a very long or even a short guitar cable. That's a lot of cable, even on a short guitar cable.
Yeah, I mean, like guitar cables, I think the shortest you can get is about 3 feet, 4 feet, maybe. I don't know.
3 feet?
3 feet.
Boy.
Haven't you ever seen those?
I don't think I have.
I just like the way they look. I looked it up on my phone right now.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're very flat,
They are flat.
almost like a crepe. And they have
Yes.
very tiny jacks.
They do have tiny jacks.
I'm imagining that if you put those cables on your board,
Yep.
you could probably squeeze an extra couple of pedals on that
You
pedal
absolutely
board.
could. Absolutely. That's one of the upsides of that particular patch cable design. You can go get this particular patch cable at tourgeardesigns.com, and when you purchase, put in the guitar knobs, all one word, into the coupon code. You're going to save 10% on your entire order. They ship fast, and they are fantastic. So thank you to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. No, that's to you.
This
I go
part.
to you.
You go to this part.
Yes,
Let me have a little bit of this.
that'll work since Jared is on the road and we can't hear him from here.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Clifton Guitarworks. Tell us your 4 on the floor.
All right. Well, that's not really a difficult challenge because I don't have a whole lot of pedals on my board as it is.
Okay.
So I have a Bonfire Boost, which is a clean boost that also acts as kind of a slight overdrive, but not a tremendous overdrive. And I really like it because I can use it as sort of like a solo boost that'll actually not only help your guitar cut through the mix, but it will also give you a little bit more grit with it. I've used it on its own for like some bluesy stuff where you don't want a whole lot of breakup, but you want to just get, a little bit of dirty, slimy kind of sound for the bluesy stuff. I got it from Ruvain, and he's a local guy. It's a local pedal, built real well. I've beat it up a lot. So that's kind of one of my staple pedals on my pedal board.
Right on.
And I think that's important. A lot of times guitarists rely on sound men or sound people to know when to boost the guitar signal on. I think having that control over it, I mean, that's something I always had when I was gigging. I mean, it's just something to give you just that little bit of a punch, and sometimes that's a clue that for the sound person to maybe give you a little boost too. Sometimes you don't even need to. It cuts through just fine. But I do like a nice clean boost too.
Indeed.
Yeah. And it's dead quiet, no hissing, no buzzing. I mean, it's a well-built pedal.
Awesome. How about number 2?
Number 2 is going to be my Thimble Wasp Time Lapse. It's another local boutique
we've
builder.
had them on the
Thimble
show.
Wasp. Yeah, I have. It's got several different settings on it. It's got a ton of different settings on it. I'm not a big run through everything settings, but it has a dotted eighth setting that's really cool. It even has a reverse tape delay that's pretty cool.
That's a great one. Yeah.
And I got to be honest, I really like the green light on the
It's
bottom.
Very, very cool.
That was, I thought that was, Because then we say you got to do
Yeah.
that for all your pedals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Because
that-
they weren't.
It's spectacular because you can find your way back to your pedal board in the dark.
Yeah.
True. It is true. It's
Yeah,
true.
that I thought
a lot
was
of
a cool
versatility
feature.
in that pedal. So many options that you can get out of that. And the thing that I like about it, to your point that you just pointed out, which was, you don't need to be able to play all of the crazier stuff, but the core settings for like a quote unquote normal use is they're really, really good.
Yeah, and and the way it's set up too with the larger knob that goes
Yeah.
to the settings, it does not take that long in between songs to just bend down, turn it to the next
Yep.
setting you want, and then you're ready to go.
It's got the ramp up on it and all that
Yep.
business.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, it's not just a ramp. They were really slick with this because depending on what type of effect you're doing, what type of delay effect, the pedal, the foot switch that typically is reserved for tap tempo or ramping reacts differently to the type of. They were just really they didn't leave any stone unturned with this.
Oh yeah,
Great pedal.
It's a cool pedal.
How about number 3?
Number 3 happens to be also a pedal, not Thimble Wasp, but Phil Clace, who's one of the guys at Thimble Wasp that does the building, built. Well, let me go back just a little bit. So he's the one that him and I worked together on our pedal, and he has pedals at his house, and he had this chorus. Or it was a modulation pedal that he had like 16 effects in it. And he's going through all these different effects, and he's like, hey, check this out, check this out. And he gets to this chorus, and I went, stop, right there. What is that? And he's like, well, it's, chorus, and it does this. And I'm like, I want that in a pedal. And he goes, well, the chip in here, I mean, it could do 8 things. I said, I don't care what else you put in there. I want that
I just
chorus.
need to do that thing.
and what it is that, most of your choruses have that warble, almost like a flangey kind of warble. This does not. It's like an octave above and an octave below. And it's just a nice, crisp chorus that gives you just a little bit of openness and make your sound just a little bit bigger. I mean, I leave it on all the time. I mean, that just stays on constantly. I'm not a guy that likes to use a lot of effects that that there's effects, but more
Right.
of you notice when it's not there.
Right.
Sure.
So that's my number 3.
Okay, what's that called again?
It's just chorus.
It's
I mean,
just
he just built it. He
Okay.
built it for me. It's in a box.
Okay.
And it just says chorus. It's
So if you're listening to this and that sounds wildly intriguing, you can get a hold of Thimble Wasp.
Yes.
And they've been on the show. Trying to think of Tony's going to look up what episode Thimble Wasp was. But if you go back into our archive, it's not that far away. It was probably, I guess, about this time last year. And message them and say, hey, you built a chorus for Cliff at Clifton Guitarworks.
That's
I want
right.
that chorus.
That would be episode number 240.
240. That was 32 episodes ago. Now.
That was, yeah,
Now. Yeah.
half a year.
Yeah.
It says November 2nd, 2021.
Boom. Well, anyways, number 4, last one.
number 4. Number 4. The last one is going to be the Zen Drive.
Oh, okay.
That's the overdrive that if I'm like, I just can't quite figure out what I want, it's just the go-to.
Yeah, well, the Zen Drive is an important one in the realm of pedaledom. It's right towards the beginning of
Yes.
a lot of drive pedals. One that certainly.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
That's what I just said. Tony.
Without a doubt. Without.
I did.
doubt.
I had doubt, and you confirmed but I don't need to have doubt.
No,
Yeah.
you don't need to doubt. Don't doubt me, Todd.
Yeah, those are pretty expensive these days.
Well, I got this one stupid cheap
That's good.
because I did some trading and building and trading and swapping, and the guy kind of had this pedal, and I don't want to say he didn't know what he had, because he knew he paid a lot of money for it, but this guy felt like anytime you bought something, that as soon as you bought it, it was only worth half of what you paid for it, just automatically.
Yeah.
And he was moving on to something else, and so I got it.
Well, that's good.
Stupid cheap.
Yeah.
It's always nice to get a bargain like that because, I mean, you feel good about it. I mean, and it's something that and it's useful to you, and it may not be useful to the person that you got it from.
Yeah.
And they just want to, get rid of it, and you took it. I won't say you took advantage of that, but you got a good deal.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and
good
he
for you.
got something from me that he wanted that I didn't pay a
Perfect.
whole bunch for. that
Everybody
he looked
wins.
at as expensive. So
And that's the thing. I think, we're talking before about going to the guitar show, and there's a lot of wheeling and dealing that goes on at the guitar shows, and sometimes you can find some really good bargains. And truth be told, there's people that just say, I'm not really using this anymore. Maybe I can trade it for something that I really want. And I think we've all done that. It's kind of good. I think that keeping that community going is really important.
yeah, I've lost a couple Mesa Boogie amps doing that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Zen Drive, actually, I just went to go look that up, and it sounds like you might have had a early version of this. Is that correct? Or
Yes.
Yeah. So the early ones, the Hermida audio, that was the so before Love Pedal started making.
Yeah,
them.
this is pre-Love Pedal.
Yeah, those are like 500. Yeah. Now you can pick up a Love Pedal version of it for about $175, something like that. So,
Yeah. And the Love Pedal, they have the black Zen Drive Black. That is a pretty cool pedal.
Black Magic.
Yeah, Black. It's not exactly the same because I've got one of those as well. But
What is the difference? Can you explain that?
it's first off is it's the Love Pedal version, so it's not exactly the same circuit, but it's supposed to be a little bit higher gain, give you a little bit more grit.
Right.
And I think I got it about the same time just because I was wanting one, so I picked that one up, and then I ended up getting the other one. And I still have both. I just kept both of them.
Yeah. Too cool. Well, thank you for sharing your 4 on the floor. It is one of our favorite things to do when we do the show, and we know it is a fan favorite as well. So you're adding to the pile. Several years ago, we did a tally on everything, and I mean, this must have been at least 3 years ago. It had to have been maybe even 4. Maybe
Was it that long ago?
Maybe it was even longer than that. Yeah, maybe 4 years. Yeah.
I think we did it for our 200th episode, didn't
Do
we?
we? Well, we tallied everything up, and we had in the realm of like 400 pedals, 350, 400 pedals, I think that we had tallied. And there, oddly enough, were not tons of duplicates. So within that, I think there must have been close to maybe 300 unique pedals.
Wow.
It was really neat. Now, since then, it took up a lot of extra time.
Yeah.
Because we had that on our website, and it did a blog on it and the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, this is now a full-time job that I'm created that I'm not getting paid for.
Yay, the best kind.
So we cut that out, but I mean, since then it has to have been doubled.
Yeah.
So maybe who knows? At some point we'll retally everything, and who knows?
Let's do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it.
Anyway, so let's get on with finding out about Cliff from Clifton Guitars. Now, you brought in actually 2 guitars that you make. You want to give why don't you give your pitch real quick?
pitch?
Yeah. What are tell me about your guitars. Hey, Mr. Guitar Maker, what is this? What are these different?
Why should I buy this guitar?
Well, the big pitch is obviously we are a small independent company, so we're still trying to get the name out there and get people to know who we are. So we always ask somebody, hey, have you heard of our guitars before? And it's like, well, come check it out. Everything is completely hand built. It's hand built from rescued, reclaimed wood. We use hand wound pickups. We make everything, the body, the necks, the whole 9 yards. And the unique features of the guitars obviously are the reclaimed, rescued wood, because we save all the knots. We save all the cracks, all the character that the guitar has. We keep all that character. And one of the things is, by using the rescued, reclaimed wood, we're talking about old growth, dense wood. We're not talking about wood that gets farmed. We're not talking about wood that you go buy at Home Depot or whatever.
Yeah.
This is all wood that came from somewhere, something. So the guitars are completely built out of this reclaimed, rescued wood, as I said.
Yeah.
So where do you source a lot of your material from?
We've used, wood from barns that have been taken down, floor joists out of old buildings. I've drug logs off the side of the freeway. One of the guitars that are here is actually made from the side rails off an old flatbed truck. I had a buddy that had this old farmhouse, and it was just a ranch farmhouse, and the plaster ceiling was cracking. And we went up in the attic, and there was all this maple and walnut just up in the attic, just drying.
Wow.
Who knows how long it had been there.
Yeah.
So
That's cool. Now, so aside from that being old growth, you have I know that you have an affinity for something else that seems to find its way into elements of your design, or the way that you are putting these together. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's hot rods and classic cars. Yeah, I mean, my dad was a mechanic for 50 years, so I grew up around hot rods and classic cars. So all the elements come from that classic car, that hot rod kind of feel. The names of the models of the guitars all come from car engines. I mean, we have the Flathead, we've got the Cleveland, the Windsor, the Slant Six, the Wedge. These are all engines that came in classic cars. With our pedal, I mean, the pedal is called the torque converter, which is part of the transmission of the car. And the amps that we're coming out with now are the Power Glide, which is a GM 2-speed transmission. So it's all geared around, that vintage kind of look, the muscle car kind of look.
Now, does the reclaimed wood, because you were telling me a little about your what you do as a professional. How much of that comes into what you're doing on a daily basis?
Not really much. I mean, I keep it kind of because
I was way off.
Well, no. I see where you're going, because I mean, I'm a building inspector by trade, so I can't really go up to a job site that's renovating a building, do the inspections, and go, hey, by the way, can I have this wood that you just cut up?
You
can I get?
Why couldn't you do
that? No, because people look at that as an improper source. So there's some Ohio ethics in there. But now,
what? Ohio has ethics?
Yeah. But now, if I see the laborers or whatever taking this wood and throwing it out in the dumpster, well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with me going dumpster diving on my own time.
Right.
But a lot of it is I mean, I work in Columbus, so obviously Columbus is off limits. So a lot of it comes from outside of Columbus, or just other people that I know. I've had a guy that I know, a contractor buddy of mine, that bought this old work truck, And when he went to pick up the work truck, the guy's like, hey, you can have the truck and everything goes in it. I'm not cleaning it out. And he's like, you're not cleaning it out. What does this mean? And he goes, I'm not cleaning the truck out. So he got the truck and took it to his shop, and the entire bed is full of walnut.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, I have no use for this. So we start taking all the walnut and putting it in my truck, and underneath the walnut was 3 slabs of live edge chestnut, which you can't find chestnut anywhere. So again, this is all old growth, mature wood.
Indigenous to Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's very cool.
Yep. I've had guys come up to me at guitar shows, and they're like, hey, I got these logs in my truck. Do you want them? And I'll go after the guitar show and go check out the logs.
Sure.
And then there's a mill in Marysville, Ohio, that I'll take the logs, and he mills them, dries them to my specifications, and we turn them into guitars.
That's
so
cool.
From a log to a guitar.
Yeah. Well, and something you mentioned, the knots and the cracks and all that stuff is that I imagine you look to these pieces of wood to try to find some of these imperfections or natural occurring figuring. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, I'll be your brain.
That. Yeah. Oh God. So, how much do you spend time-wise and just effort-wise in trying to find, like, you could have a piece of amazing wood that doesn't have any anomalies in it. Or you still use it, or do you only go after the stuff that has some funky bits to it?
No, we use it all. I mean, there's been guitars that we've built that have had no defects in the wood, but it has really cool grain patterns or swirls or whatnot. I mean, because everybody knows about tiger maple, curly maple, and quilted maple and all that. Those are really anomalies in the wood that things that have happened as
They're
it grown.
Funguses, and it's actually like bad stuff.
Yeah, and you don't really know that until you cut the tree down and find it. So, I mean, that's the same thing we do. It's just we're not looking for those really cool things that most people call pretty. We're looking for all the different kind of craziness that's in there. Like the one guitar that has the big crack that has a little bit of yellow on it. That's
the one that you brought, not the one that you made, or
well,
like
both.
Well, you made.
It's here.
I just want to make it clear. It's like you didn't make 2 guitars, and that's the end of your story.
No,
the one that
yeah. So this one guitar that we built that we're still trying to. No, it's actually it's a wood that's called box elder, and it's a type of maple that these box elder bugs get in.
Right.
And somehow through whatever they do, it makes these red and tan streaks all through the wood. And on the one guitar that I brought, the neck of the guitar actually has this streaking up through it that looks like flames.
Yeah.
Like on a hot rod, like an old muscle car.
I wonder if that's because the box elder bugs are flame orange and black. Yes. I wonder if it has anything to do with like if them getting in and crawling around and like scuffing or getting squished or something like that.
Yeah.
It's their spit.
Their spit, box elder spit. What's weird is, at least here and actually I believe, if I recall correctly, we got these in Minnesota too, but I'm trying to think. There's one particular time during the year where it's just like you're just pumping gas and they're like there are box elders all over the gas pumps and everything. You're like, well, they're here.
It's like migration season.
Yeah. It's kind of wild. So let's talk about how did you fall into this?
Well, it's something that we kind of started alluding to in the beginning that, when you start playing guitar, you learn how to play guitar and you start getting better at playing guitar and you want better guitars, but your income doesn't always follow that pattern. So you can't always buy better guitars. Well, I mean, as a carpenter by trade, so, just had kind of an epiphany one day that, hey, guitars are made out of wood. I'm a carpenter. I make stuff out of wood. Why can't I build a guitar?
Yeah.
So So I went to one of these places that you can go and buy firewood. And I just went into the office. I'm like, hey, can I buy a log? And the lady looked at me like I was an alien. She's like, just a log? I said, yeah, just a log. She goes, you don't want like a cord of wood or what? And she goes, I'm like, no, I just want a log. And she just go over there and get something. Just get it.
I can't be bothered. Take it.
Yeah. So I went over, got a log, got my chainsaw, and sliced it up into pieces and turned it into a guitar body. And at that time, I was buying guitar necks, and just building a body. We started building a few bodies, and then there's a local guitar repair guy that also builds guitars, Dave Bush. And I'd talk to him about the guitars and show him, what I was doing and stuff. And he's like, man, you need to make the necks. That's where all the fun is. And I'm like, that's the scary part.
Yes,
Fun,
it is
huh?
the scary part.
But he showed me what to do. He started out slotting my fretboards for me, and then I built everything else. And then, I went from there and started building the entire guitar. And this actually evolved into something that my son and I could do together just to hang out, just a Thursday night thing, hanging out. And we ended up getting a few guitars on the wall, and it's like, Dad, what are we going to do with these? And I'm like, I don't know, we can see if other people like them, I guess. And we started taking them to guitar shows, and people started really digging them, that, something different, unique, quality made, quality components, good feel, and we just keep building them.
Awesome. That's super cool. I appreciate also that it's something that you were able to get, time with your son to be able to do. I think that's pretty rare and important in life.
Oh yeah.
What kind of finishes are you using?
Well, most of the colors that we use are just tint bases, like you can get from Stu Mac or whatever for the different colors. And because this is a home-based business, and I don't have like a paint booth or anything, so I'm not spraying lacquer. I actually use, it's a water-based product that it's called Varathane.
Oh, okay.
It's a water-based acrylic urethane, I think is what it is. I spray it on with a spray gun. It goes on real nice and smooth. It easy to work with. It doesn't have a whole lot of fumes.
That's good.
And you were talking about the cool yellow patina. Well, unfortunately, this doesn't yellow. There's no paraffin and no oil in it, so it'll stay clear forever.
Which, I mean, the point of your guitars, largely is that you have this really amazing wood that you're using. So getting in the way of that, not necessarily always the best idea if you got like this amazing wood and then you're like, hey, I want to paint it black.
Yeah. Which I've had people call up and go, hey, do you do custom guitars? And I'm like, well, that's all we do is custom guitars. Okay, well, this is what I want. I want a 1959 Fender body with a 73 neck. I want it painted bright orange. And I'm like, slow down.
Yeah.
Like we don't,
Not your guy.
We don't duplicate guitars, and we don't paint anything. I mean, this is all, we want to be able to see the grain. We want to be able to see all the character of the wood. We don't cover it up.
Yeah. I mean, it is a very woody guitar. It looks like a tree with a bunch of metal on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say that not as in a way that is like you're really honoring the wood that you're using. That's how I mean that to come across, hopefully.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't know that it did, right?
He's got a shiv.
Sorry. Yeah.
I came packing. Well, and it's one of the cool things about it too is that as a guitar player, you want to get that nice, better guitar, and you end up saving your money, and you go out and get your first Les Paul, you get your first PRS, you spend, a couple, $2,000-3,000 on it, but you're still taking your $300 guitar out to gigs because you don't want anybody to bang it, ding it, dent it. Our guitars are already banged, dinged, and dented, so it doesn't matter. So we really gear the guitars for the working musician, something that quality guitar at affordable price that you're not afraid to take out and gig with.
Mm-hmm. These aren't backbreakers either. I was really pleasantly surprised. I mean, they're really well balanced and lightweight. Is that a selfish design thing that you did, just as far as like, hey, I want something that's going to be really lightweight and slim, and or do you cater to all the thicknesses in the world? Like, how do you approach that?
It's a little both.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, we've all owned Les Pauls and regretted at the end of the night.
Yeah.
But with it being that old growth, dense wood, you can get that thicker tone without having to have thicker bodies.
Right.
And sometimes it's just a matter of, working with the wood, and it's kind of cliche to say that the wood talks to us, but it kind of does, because there's times you start working on it and it's like, oh, well, this is kind of a really soft part. We need to get this out of here, and this is a part that's probably got a little bit too much damage, so we need to get it out of here, and it ends up a little thinner. But we've built heavier guitars.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guitarist, Gary Buck, in Cincinnati that wanted a real custom guitar. I mean, this one, 24 frets, stainless steel, Floyd Rose, wanted an EVH Wolfgang pickup in it. And the wood that he picked was box elder and pear. So... I mean, this thing rivals.
What is the characteristic of pear?
As far as like color-wise,
color, figuring, tonality, what the
color and figuring, it was almost like a pinkish kind of.
Oh.
And it's similar to maple as far as figuring, but it's stinking heavy. I mean, this thing rivaled a Les Paul, and then you throw a Goto Floyd Rose on it, and stainless steel frets. I mean, I'm glad that he plays mostly sitting down on studio stuff, because this is a heavy guitar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can build it out of something that's heavy. We can make them thicker. Some components you're going to have to make them thicker. I mean, if you're looking at like a 5-way blade, I mean, it's going to have to be 1.5 inches thick to be able to accommodate that.
Right.
But, we've gone as thin as 1.25 inches with the body, and be able to get all the electronics and everything in it.
And maintain the tone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
So let me ask you this. What guitars do you take with you when you play live?
What guitars I take my guitars with me. Come on.
That was a trick question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because you talked about, hey, what did you sell that you'd like to get back? I still have my original 96 American Standard Strat with the matching colored headstock in, I think it was the last year of the Seafoam Green.
Oh.
And it just hangs on the wall.
Yeah.
It's just wall decoration because I play my guitars.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
And a funny little story about that is we were building guitars, and me and my son would do the guitar shows, and I'd get a guitar done, and I'm like, man, I really like this guitar. And then get another one, I really like this guitar. And finally my son's like, look, you need to build you 2 guitars for you. Stop bringing the guitars that you like to the show, because I'm going to sell them. So I built myself 2 guitars.
Nice.
You earned it. You earned it. Yeah, that's cool. Now, aside from guitars, you're venturing out into the other sounds as far as things that can come from pedals.
Yes.
As we were mentioning in the 4 on the floor, and Tony loosely referred to something with 4 cables. We're looking at that pedal in front of us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what we developed in partnership with one of the guys from Thimble Wasp is the torque converter overdrive. What makes it unique is this is an overdrive and a reverb, a plate type reverb in one enclosure. It comes with, as you alluded to, the 4 jacks, so it has an integrated effects loop. So you can actually use it as 2 completely independent pedals, or you can use them together. You can place other pedals in between the overdrive and the reverb, or you can run the reverb through the effects loop and the overdrive in front of the amp.
So that you could, in effect, that could be a single pedal for a show. Or
Yes.
you could use it in conjunction with your 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other pedals.
Yeah, and again, looking at gearing things for like the working musician, one of the brainchilds of the pedal was what can we put together that if you get a last minute call, hey, can you fill in on this gig? What can you grab and go and use? You know, you can pretty much get through any gig with an overdrive and a reverb.
Yeah.
And a lot of these amps coming out now, especially the lower wattage amps, they're not putting reverb in them.
Yeah.
So you're just getting an amp with nothing.
Well, that's another important factor. Why don't you tell us, you mentioned the lower wattage amps.
Yeah, so this particular pedal, when, you know, if we think back to, you know, the Ibanez Tube Screamers and the Proco Rat and even the Klon, these were all, you know, pretty much developed on high wattage amps. I mean, you're talking 50, 6500 watt amps. This was actually developed on a low wattage amp. It was actually developed on using a Epiphone Valve Junior. So it works really well with low wattage to be able to.
And that's like a 5 watt amp, right?
Yeah. So it pushes a low wattage amp really good, and you can still use it on, you know, a higher wattage amp. It plays well with others. It works even well with high gain amps. When I talked with them about developing this pedal, there were 2 things that I specifically wanted to have. One is the pedal had to be dead quiet. It had to be usable to be able to use it like in a studio setting. And 2 is I wanted the knobs to be completely usable, whether they're turned all the way up or all the way down. The overdrive on here, you can actually take the gain, the voice, and the tone and completely dime them, and the pedal is still usable. You can turn the gain, the voice, and the tone completely down and bring the volume up, and it becomes a clean boost. So the knobs are completely usable. You don't get to about 2 o'clock and then start getting all flubbiness.
Yeah. What are you looking at there, Tony?
I took the back. Cliff was looking at me
He's
nervously as I was. I lied.
He's going under the hood.
I'm going under the hood. So what I see is an Accutronics digital reverb chip, which is that's
the Belton brick.
Yeah, and that one is it's used in many reverb units.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But it's a very very nice layout on the inside.
And it's not a clone of something else. It's not development of something else.
So how would you describe the overdrive portion of it?
It's a low to medium gain overdrive. It's real amp-like. I mean, it's the overdrive is there's a JFET is what's used for the overdrive, so it gives you that really amp-like amp-like overdrive. Again, like I said, if you crank the voice and the gain all the way up, you can get to almost a distortion, but not like a Marshall-y distortion, but it's going to get pretty gainy. The voice on it is kind of like a high mid boost, but it also does affect the gain. The volume does not affect the gain circuit. So you set the gain and then bring the volume up. It's not going to give you more gain. It's just going to give you more volume. And the tone has a really good sweep to it. Like I said, you can put it to 0 to 10, and it's still usable.
I think that's important because some pedals you get and you go above 12 o'clock and they start just becoming pretty much useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like that microphone on the side of your face.
Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Todd? Sorry about that, Todd.
It's all right. I'll let it slide.
I won't be allowed to do the next podcast.
So that's cool. So is this taking? How's this affecting your time with your builds and everything right now?
Because I'm working with an actual pedal builder that's building it for us, and then we're marketing it and putting our name on it. I can focus on the guitars, and we can still produce the pedals.
Right.
So the torque converter overdrive pedal retails for $239.
Solid.
Okay.
Solid.
Yeah, I mean,
For a 2-in-1 pedal, that's
especially with effects and effects loop and everything.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to find an overdrive pedal for less than $200 anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And you're getting another pedal in with this. And we even give you a really cool box with a sticker and a Clifton Guitarworks card in it.
Oh man.
Oh,
That's
this
some
is
serious
and
case
more.
candy.
and it is really spectacularly colored purple bubble wrap. Oh no, I'm sorry, pink bubble wrap. Pink bubble
Wow.
wrap.
All right.
Yeah.
That is enticing. How about let's talk about your guitars. I mean, obviously you're not just making 20 of these and they sit on a rack and then somebody grabs them and like where are you at as far as price goes on your guitars?
The base price of the guitar is going to be $15.99. That does come with a hard shell case, and we throw in some really cool case candy. As a matter of fact, I've worked with the original coin guitar picks, and we have actually came out with our own coin guitar pick that comes with the guitar.
Nice.
So it's $15.99 for, like I said, the base model, and then we have the hybrid that has the Ghost pickup system. So you've got the acoustic electric hybrid, and those are $23.99.
Okay.
Again,
Solid.
comes with the hard shell case and the case candy.
Right on. And then for all the other particulars that come into play, if you want something kind of special, like, XYZ hardware or the kind of, anything like that. And you been, what kind of pickups wise, where are you at with these?
All custom wound stuff. We use a small company out of Kentucky called Spicer Pickups, and then another local company right here, Brandon Wound Pickups.
Yeah, we've heard of them. Yeah, heard of them.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
So we work with Brandon Wound on winding some pickups for us.
Right.
Nice.
And again, we like to use smaller, not huge companies, but still kind of big companies. So we work with Graph Tech as well. So that's where we get the Ghost pickup system. We've been using their ratio tuning keys, which each one of the tuning keys is geared specifically to the string.
Oh, that's cool.
We can use their tusk nuts. Pretty much anything that they offer, we can get and put in the guitar.
Right on. Fantastic. Well, Cliff, it's been really cool hearing about all of the neato stuff that you're making, and I love the fact that almost everything you mentioned so far on the show is indigenous to Ohio.
Yes,
that's really cool. I think that is a unique aspect that you're able to offer. Instead of just this stuff came from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we've even. I've got a guy right now that we're building a guitar for him, and it's wood that he got from his property.
Oh, that's neat.
So if you've got wood that, from your grandpa's barn or, wood that you found in your house or, whatnot, we can do that. We've also, this isn't something that was massively publicized, but I actually got one of the floor joists from the stage at the Alrosa Villa.
Oh, wow.
And I've built a guitar out of that, and I think I've got enough of that floor joist to build 2 more guitars.
Wow.
So Alrosa, a lot of people, because of the tragedy that happened at Alrosa, and it happened, so recently, we'll say, A lot of people don't really know how much history there is in Alrosa, how many bands went through there. I mean, we're talking national touring bands that when they came through the Midwest, they would play at the Alrosa.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to kind of immortalize that history, the good that the Alrosa brought to the music industry and brought to the music in Columbus, and using the wood from the floor joist from that stage, we can use that in the guitar and, like I said, just kind of immortalize.
And honor the good things that came out of that, not the tragedy with Dimebag. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Well, cool. That's a neat thing. I appreciate you sharing that.
And just to note, the Alrosa has been leveled.
Yes.
It is no longer.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for sharing all of this awesomeness, your background and all the cool things you're making, and the fact that you have some meaning and stories behind it is extra delightful. We are going to up in the El Camino while Jared is away, and
Are we going to crash his place?
yeah, we might. Let's throw some cans on his front yard.
No, I have an idea.
What's that?
We can put a for sale sign at his new house.
I like that idea. Then he can move back here. That makes more sense, Jared.
Yes.
All right, we've got a fantastic Would You Rather. Okay,
Are you going to sing it, Todd?
I will.
Okay.
If you
Could
can,
you?
I do it? Yeah.
Would you? Could you?
Would you rather? Panning.
That sounded kind of like Bill Murray.
Thanks. All right, this is from Cosmic Evan, a.k.a. Pedal Junkie. Okay, now bear with me, everybody. He took the time to do this, so
Okay.
I want to honor it.
Honor it.
So you're walking down the street. You have $500 in your pocket from a recent unexpected financial windfall. Woo. For one reason or another, this is your gear budget for the foreseeable future, and you are on your way to your local music store to spend it on some frivolous nonsense because gear funds in your pocket might as well be hot coal. True.
Yes.
That is absolute fact,
Been
especially
there.
with me. It is a beautiful day in Anywhere, USA, where you live, so you decide to walk to the guitar shop and walk off some of that cheesesteak you enjoy to celebrate your financial good fortune and also to help air out some of that grease smell on your clothes to avoid any questioning from the missus that you get about another heart attacking inducing you only live once lunch. I think that's for Jared. You stumble upon a garage sale as they are setting up.
I love garage sales.
I do as well. You notice that they are putting out some music gear, so you walk over to take a closer look. Shocker of all shockers, you see a piece of gear you have been searching for and have been unable to find at any price. There it is, being put on the table, but priced double what it should sell for, and what you wanted to get it for, with a price tag of exactly the $500 you have in your pocket, snatching up the full $500 you have and eliminating any chances of quelling your insatiable gas. Not Tony's gas, but
Is that from the cheesesteak?
gear acquisition syndrome on anything else. You did have your heart set on exploring one of the multitudes of crazy delay machines recently released, or maybe that's just the author, he says. You also see the garage seller put out a vintage closet classic of some gear that you could care less about, but you are certain that it's definitely worth thousands. Your $500 will easily double or triple within the week if you buy this closet classic and relist it on the selling platform of your choice. The seller turns to you and notes that you are eyeing the music gear and asks if you are one of the 3 guys who called asking about the music gear that was for sale. You say, no. And the seller says, well, it's your lucky day. This stuff has to go, and I know of a few collectors of this garbage who are on their way. I said, cash is king and I hold nothing. So buy it all if you want, but all these prices are firm on the music garbage. As such, you know in your heart of hearts that you only have one shot to buy one and whichever you buy, someone will surely snatch up the other since the garage sale is due to officially start in 25 minutes. And remember, you walked here, so you can't get to an ATM and back in time to get anything. And the seller said, cash is king. I hold nothing, so you can only buy one. Which do you buy? The overpriced buy double pedal you've always wanted that even on its worst day sells for no more than $250. But here is $500.
Ouch.
Or the closet classic that you'll insta-sell for $1,000 to $1,500. Currently marked also at the $500 price of what's in your pocket. That is a fantastically long lead up to this question. But it's a very good question. So, hopefully everybody's following along and remembered what show this is.
So you got $500, $500 to spend.
Yes.
There's one item that really ought to be $250, but the guy says price is firm.
Price is firm.
$500.
You're probably going to lose money on it.
Or and it's something. The first thing is something you always want.
Yes, you've been looking for it for ages.
Or there's another piece
that you don't necessarily want, but you know you can flip.
You can flip for double, maybe
twice
even
to 3 times the price.
2 to 3 times.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well. That is a very, very good question.
Yep.
Thank you, Cosmic Evan, for sending this delightfully long Would You Rather in. This was fun. Okay.
It was.
We're going to check in with Tanya and then head over to Cliff and see what he has.
First of all, Todd,
Yes.
let me thank you for reading that.
You were welcome.
Yeah, that was well done.
Thank you.
And I actually liked your song at the beginning, too. I think I liked it better than what Jared can do.
I know. They can't replace Jared. Anyways, say the thing. Do the things. Let's go.
I never pay more than I should for something. Yeah, I mean, I'm always...
Bull crap.
What?
There's things.
There are not things.
There's things. I've seen things.
I always try to get a good bargain.
You try, yes. I don't know. I feel like there are a couple of times you're pretty good at that. Okay, I redact that.
Redact that.
It's redacted.
Take it back.
I've taken it back.
Take it back. I resemble that remark.
Yes, I got a gift card. Go.
I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer. If you find something at a yard sale that you can double, maybe triple your money,
do it.
That's the way to do it. Now you got $1,000 or maybe $1,500 in your pocket, and you can go somewhere else and get something that you really want.
Right. You may not be able to ever find this pedal again, though.
Well,
it could be an OG Zen Drive.
Well, it could
or it's
be.
not, because it's only $250. So
Wow.
I redact that too. Redacted.
Nah, that's what I'm sticking with. I'd rather get the bargain and try to make a little extra scratch.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Cliff, how about yourself?
This is a toughie.
It really is.
Because when you started this all out, you said this is like an extra $500 that just came from somewhere.
Yes.
So...
But the thing is, when you're in that mind and you
Yes.
have major gas, it's not something that it's like you have to spend it.
Yes. I mean, you're going to spend it, but it's not like, you're taking money out of your daily cash. It's just stuff you found,
right?
Whatnot, or, maybe you sold something else and got this extra money. But, I mean, I do kind of agree with Tony that, I mean, you've got this pedal that you really, really want, but do you really, really want to pay double for it? That's the hard part. The other part that makes it hard for me is, yes, you can buy this other thing and turn around and sell it, but do I really have the time to turn around and sell it? Is the hard part.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee.
Yeah,
but chances are.
So,
if you were,
oh man, I'm really torn. Because usually, if there's something that I want, I've been waiting a long time, and I've really got my heart set on it.
Yes.
And if this is, $500 that I didn't have, it'd make it easier to get that pedal.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's why this is called Would You Rather.
Yes. But I think I would still have to go with Tony.
Yes. Bargain.
I still think I'd
Bargain
still have to go
hunters.
with
Going for the
Tony.
bargain. I
Because,
dig
you know,
it.
still got to be a good steward with that money that you've got.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer for Jared. It's 100% he's going to buy the thing that
He really wants.
He really wants, because we've seen him do that multiple times. We're like, what are you doing?
At
He's like,
multiple guitar shows.
I'm going to have it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to join him because I have come to the realization in my life that if I get locked into something, I'm going to get it. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And if it's sitting in front of me and I let it go, I know how much it will gnaw at me. And that's not worth the price.
That
to me.
regret.
I would rather have it in hand and go, well, I've made a dumb decision, than say, oh, I could have had the thing. So that's what I'm doing with. So Jared and I can hang out on his front porch and have lemonade. All right. Tony, you got to say, hey, thank you again to Cosmic M for sending that in. We would love to hear your Would You Rathers. Please send them our way.
Absolutely.
Long or short. All right. Tanya, go ahead.
Okay, Todd. Well, at this point of the show, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These folks help make this podcast possible. Now, we call them our executive producers, but they're much, much more than that. They're our fairy godparents.
Sure. Okay.
You like that one?
Yeah, we'll roll with that today.
Okay,
Let's go.
that's today's thing. So you might be wondering how you can become an executive producer. Very simple. Go over to patreon.com. Almost said pickguardian.com. Patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs. And check out a couple different levels in which you can participate to become a sponsor, a patron of this very podcast.
Indeed.
There are some very nice thank you gifts that you get for becoming a sponsor and a patron. But there's one thing more.
Well, you also get access to 270 episodes,
Yes.
all at well over an hour,
Yes.
to your heart's content,
Right.
for free.
Well, yes.
So there's
That's
that.
got to be worth something.
That's worth something.
But there's one thing more. In addition to all the great stuff, the thank you gifts, the access to the podcast catalog. Oh, what is it?
Well, you get to have your name right on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. Thanks, Jared. We didn't even think you were here. So without further ado, we'd all like to thank these special executive producers. Moon Guitars, Vader and Pedals, Drew Lopez, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, Matt Hart, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, John Anglin, Tom Brazen, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What?
Oh.
What? I did it in the lower key this time.
Yeah, no, I got it.
You
Keep
got
going.
it? Okay, thanks, Todd. David Poe, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, and Stuart George, all the way from Wales.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic.
Hey, Todd.
Yes?
There's more. Because we have a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These folks have a fez to place upon their head, sometimes upon their hat, but sometimes upon their head. And they must wear the fez while listening to the podcast.
Indeed.
It's the law. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs: Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Igareda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups. We talked about them earlier. Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound. Brian Robison. Jonathan Jurisic from 12th Hour Devices. Corey Nigro. Michael Van Zant. Tim Novak. Jonathan Daly. Martin Cliff. Sean S.
Amazing.
And Eddie Serratos. Thank you.
Indeed. That is really, really fantastic. I have deduced, by the way,
Yes.
that if you decided to, you could potentially drive from Guitar Center in Hollywood to Iowa. We'll say Iowa, and listen to our show the entire time.
Why would
It
you
would
go to
get you
Iowa?
I'm just saying. I
mean-
no. We'll say we'll get you from Guitar Center in Los Angeles to the Arch in St. Louis, Missouri.
270 hours. And then some. You're assuming
911 hours.
911 hours.
That's 911 hours. Is that right? That can't be right.
That's-
I've done my math very poorly.
911 hours.
I figured it to be 1,400 miles.
Okay.
I need to go back and fire
I think
my.
you need
How
your
slow are you
calculator
driving?
tuned up.
At 65. At 65 miles an hour, I did the math. I did 270
Yeah.
times 75, which is roughly the average minutes of our show.
And that's how many minutes?
I've closed my calculator, but then I divided that by 65,
yeah.
and
That's miles.
65 miles per hour.
Right, you can go 65
Right, so then I
miles
got-
in an hour.
Right. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, hey, where can people find your stuff, Cliff?
CliftonGuitarworks.com,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram,
Perfect.
and
Give them a call. Get some good gear.
yeah, call on the phone.
Right on. Tony?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the wares that I have available for sale. By and large, what I do is custom work. So shoot me an email. Let me know what you need, what you're trying to do. Who knows? I might even have some advice for you. But I'll take very good care of you.
That is true, and you have some fantastic materials. You can email me, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. You can DM me, and by way of me, us, of the show, on Instagram, at Guitar Knobs. We would love to hear from you. Share whatever you're thinking. Give us a would you rather. We would adore that. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening. Also, please go check out my band, the Valentinos. I think you'll really dig it. It's some good hard driving rock and roll and stuff. Also at the Valentinos on Instagram. Shameless plug. Not so shameless. Have a fantastic guitar weekend. Subscribe!
Yo! You want me just to wing it? You want me to wing it?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how it works, baby. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Or the closet classic that you'll sell instantly.
Instantaneously.
No, wait, hang on. Closet classic that you'll or the closet classic that you'll insta sell. Or
So you're going to sell it
but
for what
here,
you buy it for.
no. Hang on.
So you got 500
Oh,
bucks.
I see what happened. Or the closet classic. Let me just start this part over. Okay, because it repeats it. I got it. We're all gold now. Hang on. I got it. I got this, man. I can do this. It's gonna be amazing. I haven't lost a beat here. I'm not gonna do it.
So you're going 1,400 miles.
Well, no, I don't know how many miles I'm going. So I'm trying to figure out how many miles we can go.
All right. So
how many
270
hours?
episodes. So 270.
So 270.
270 episodes times
If you're going
75 minutes.
So that's 20,250 minutes.
Yes. Hang on.
Divide that
Divide
by,
that by 60.
60,
That's what I did.
and you get what?
330. Wow, I really didn't do this right.
337 hours.
337 hours.
Okay.
So
now take 337 and multiply it by 65.
That's what I did with
No,
a different
you
number.
divided it by 65.
And I got-
You end up with almost 22,000.
That'll get us to what? 22,000 miles?
Yes.
Yes.
Because you can go 65 miles in an hour.
Right. And from
So if you have 200 and some hours,
Yeah.
22,000 miles.
22,000 miles.
So let's see, 22,000.
that's going to get you around the Earth a few times.
I like that. Or we could
Go back and forth
hang on.
from Alaska to Maine.
21,937 miles. So from Guitar Center on Sunset to the Empire State Building is 2,800 miles.
Okay.
Okay.
So how many times can you go back and forth?
Right. Right.
Probably like 10 times.
So that's divided by.
According to this, from Los Angeles to New York City is 42 hours.
Yes. Hang on. Divided by 2,800 equals. So you could go back and forth from Guitar Center to the Empire State Building about 8 times.
Well, you have to divide that in half if you're going back and forth, because that's just one way. It's 2,000
He's killing me
miles
with
one
the
way,
math.
right?
He's right, but he's killing me. So put that in half. So you could go
Back and forth 4 times?
round trip from L.A. to Empire State Building about 4 times,
And your
and
brain
never
will
hear a
explode.
repeat. That's fucking awesome.
And your brain will explode.
Yes.
Most likely.
Yes.
Or you'll
Or
be killed in a horrible car
so,
accident after.
but then we have to figure out. So you could how long? What's the worst circumference of the Earth?
Oh my goodness.
Tony, you can do it.
That's a lot.
Hey Siri, what is the circumference of the Earth?
The answer I found is 24,901 miles.
So
You can almost go all the way around.
He's going to be up all night
I am.
worrying about this.
Well, if you think about
It's
that,
going to be pacing.
if you think about that, you could go from. You could drive from.
You're not going to drive across the ocean.
Yeah, well, you can. You could drive from New York to Tokyo. Farther than that.
Yes.
If
you can if you can almost get completely around.
Maybe via Australia.
Well, I don't want to cramp your brain too much, but it's a circle like this.
Right.
So
Yes.
if you're like at latitude 1650, you may be able to get all the way around.
So you could go from Columbus to New York the other way.
Yes.
You could go from Columbus to you could go to New York. You could drive from New York to Columbus via Europe and Asia.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out a clever way to put this. I like that way.
Or you can say you can go from Columbus to New York using the most scenic route possible.
Yes. The most indirect way.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. This is messed up. Now it's Tony, you're throwing me off.
You could go from Columbus to New York by only driving west.
Yes. Or left.
No. Because if you're going south, you're going to go right.
He is.
Just
he's
say
as bad
west.
he's as bad with directions as he is with math.
Just say west. You can take the western route.
Go west, young man.
You can take the
Yes.
western route.
Head
from
towards
Columbus
Japan to get to New York, and you could leave Columbus,
Go through Albuquerque,
head to Japan,
New Mexico.
go through Albuquerque all the way to Japan, through all the Kazakhstans and the stands, and all the Ermines and everything.
But you can make a wrong turn in Albuquerque and still
You
get
could,
there.
yes. I like this.
bucks.
I like this plan. Almost all the way around the world. That's remarkable. That's really cool. damn it.
Now, if you break the speed limit, you can make it.
I was 65 the whole way, according to this.
If you
Now, if
break-
we drove faster,
if you drove
we could go all
75,
the
you
way
could get
around.
there.
No, we can't. Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah, 75, because you're almost there.
All right. So what is that at 80?
If you could do 75 miles an hour, it's 10 miles an hour faster.
Yeah.
Times however many hours we decided it was 340 something.
At 75 miles an hour.
You could pass through New York.
Well, maybe let's drop it to 70. At 70 miles an hour.
Stay off the Autobahn.
So 21,000 hours is what we have?
well,
No,
it was 24,000
270
miles all the way around, wasn't it? And
times
at 65, we were saying
75.
22,000 miles.
Yeah, 22,000 miles.
So
But we have 20,000 hours. No.
there was we had 22,000.
divided
we
by-
could go 22,000 miles at 65 miles an hour. So if we bumped it
So
to
let's take it back.
70,
Divided by 65.
337 hours.
337 hours times 75. That's 25,312.
You'll go,
Right.
you'll go
You'll-
right past.
you'll
You can
drive.
actually say you can go all the way around and still stop and go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Twice.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty rad.
You can
75
stop,
miles an hour.
You can stop and do number 1 and then stop again and do number 2.
Yeah. I think I'd have to. Okay, so we've determined we can, at driving
70 miles an hour.
70 miles an hour, and I bet if we shaved it and just said, hey, let's put on cruise control at like 73, they would almost hit dead on. Anywhere
You'd have to go
on
the other way.
on the equator.
It'd have to be more like 67 miles an hour and you'll get right there.
68 miles an hour, just, wind. 68 miles an hour, you could drive from one point on the equator and go all the way around and never repeat an episode.
There you go.
That's freaking cool.
You got it.
Thanks to all those who have helped make that happen. Maybe. A spacecraft travels 8,000 miles an hour. I don't know. What kind of spacecraft? Is this like Daffy Duck space
NASA.
aircraft? NASA. SpaceX.
So according to the Google,
Yeah.
it says it takes about 3 days.
3 days.
to get to the moon.
To get to the moon.
That's running pretty fast.
Let's just say
say it's about 24,000 miles.
Okay, so that's to get
Or
there
240,000
and then
miles.
get back. That's 6 days.
So 6 days.
6 days. 24
Times
hours
24
per
hours.
day.
Yeah, still 24 hours per day, except for leap year.
Right.
132?
As a who?
132?
It is 144.
144.
So
Plenty of episodes for a
Wow.
space trip.
that's so you could go twice. I'm going to do my math. You could go more than twice.
Because you're going really fast.
Yes, you could. You could go round trip to the moon. What?
If you go fast enough, you can actually turn back time. Because as you approach the speed of light, time starts to slow down and eventually will run backwards.
Cher would be very happy to hear this.
If I could turn back time. No,
Okay, so 3 times to the moon and back.
Einstein.
3 times to the moon and back? Do I hear a 4?
Time does slow down when they're going that fast, even though it's not as fast as approaching the speed of light.
Okay.
But
So
their
roughly-
watches, astronauts' watches.
Right. So
they
Elon
kicked
could
off a minute
roughly
or two.
make 3 trips to the moon. You
Yeah.
give or take some,
Yeah,
and never listen to the same episode twice.
you can go to the dark side of the moon.
He could. You could wing it all the way around, get slingshot, just like they did in.
Apollo 13.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty neat too. So, would you rather go to the moon 3 times and back, or go all the way around the equator? Ooh, sub. Would you rather, Tony?
Moon. Love to go to
Really?
the moon. I'd rather go to the moon
3 times?
3 times.
It's black. There's nothing.
No,
There's
it's
nothing
great.
out there.
It's all great.
All right, Cliff.
Well, seeing as how if you're driving all that time you're in the car.
Yeah.
But if you're going to the moon, you're in the spacecraft.
Yes.
There's a better
smaller
chance
window.
than you're going to get food and go to the bathroom.
You have to pee in your clothes.
I don't
though.
want to do it in the car.
You could still. You could
you could do
pee.
that.
I'd
moon.
take the circumference of the Earth. Think of all the things you'd see.
How many depends are you?
Oh, that'd be
You're going.
amazing.
You're going too fast. You wouldn't be able to see anything.
I idle at 70 miles an hour.
Well, but
You really wouldn't take the equator. You wouldn't take the whole way.
No, I'd
see
go to
all
the
the
moon.
amazing things. Machu
rather go to
Picchu,
the moon.
Picachan, Machu Picchu. I'm just making
a
up
lot
places.
of water, a lot of ocean.
A lot of water. I'd skip the water. I would just,
Sleep. Well, you're going to sleep drive during that time.
yes.
Okay.
It's autopilot. It's a Tesla. I got a
Sleep
Tesla.
drive.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm taking the equator. Thanks. Or the closet classic that you'll sell instantly for $500. This doesn't. Hang on. I got to the finish line and this doesn't make sense.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.